Sit in the back. All right. All right. Ready? Good morning. You are at a Waterworks Commission, City of Wausau. It is 11:01, Tuesday, October 7th, Council Chambers. We have a quorum present. And first up is item 1, approval of minutes from September 2nd meeting. Would entertain a motion. Motion from Hadley.
A second.
Second from Gelhar. Questions, comments, anyone want to change anything they saw? Seeing none, those in favor of accepting the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Up next is item 2, Director's Report on Utility Operations. A couple of good things here to update us on, and we'll get going with Eric.
Thanks, Mayor. Couple of updates, lead service line replacement. I did go back down to Madison about a week and a half ago to try to get a closing date, which we did, actually. So we're expected to close on the 25 loan on November 26th. We're anticipating that is going to council for approval on November 11th. So I guess we're making a little progress. The 24 loan didn't close till June of 25, so we're doing a little bit better with the DNR. But yeah, it is. Maybe I'm not close enough. Sorry, Jim. And then 25 lead service line replacement. It's moving forward. Construction's a little bit behind, but they are going to be bringing in another crew. We anticipate that continuing through most of November, maybe even into December if needed. So, and as weather permits. So, we are anticipating replacing more services than we thought. So, that's good news. Little over 1,600. I think we had proposed right around 1,500 for the year. So total then will be at about almost 2,300 by the end of this year. Yeah. We also have some updates on the wastewater projects for the Washington Street siphon replacement, the Headwork screening project, and the Cherry Street lift station, which are ongoing projects.
Questions on the director's report?
So Eric, there were no punitive actions following this spill, which didn't get into the river, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So we were not penalized, or?
Just the other day, I knew that we'd be issued a letter of noncompliance stating that we had an overflow and it spilled onto the ground. There were no punitive damages other than the letter received from the DNR. It was a closure letter stating there was no further action required, so it's considered closed at this time. It ended up, I stated in the memo, it ended up in a retention pond in the DPW parking lot, where wastewater staff and collection staff spent hours with cleanup and jetting the storm sewers to make sure everything was cleaned up appropriately. All the waste that was collected was disposed of it properly at the wastewater treatment plant, so everything is very good there as well. So
Is that a retention pond that's designed for this purpose?
it's a retention pond designed for stormwater, so
Okay.
it doesn't surcharge the piping going out to the Wisconsin River. It has a overflow. I'm guessing it's 6 feet tall, where it'll surcharge the pond, and then it'll flow in. But it didn't come near that overflow, so
Good.
we're thankful for that. So
I think another update for the 25 and 26 funding for lead service line was the discussions we've had with DNR on how they're determining what non-construction funding we can have and the limits. So I did bring a resolution to the city council asking, getting support from the city council to have the DNR not restrict our non-construction related activities, just because of the incredible effort it takes for outreach, right? To get into people's homes, to get this organized, well above and beyond a normal construction project. And so the DNR did not change, did not change their determination, so they are restricting our non-construction. So I did reach out to other entities, legislators, the letters in the packet, the governor's office, and I did send that letter off, on behalf with the council resolution. And I did make sure that the DNR was copied on that as well. At the meeting I had with them, I did let them know that I would be sending out a letter from the city of Wausau. So then I did get acknowledgement from the EPA that they did receive the letter and will be reviewing it. I haven't received any further response from them at this time.
So if you look at it in relation to other cities, especially Milwaukee, we are getting a pretty good discount, or at least a better cost per unit
Right.
installation than they are. So I think, that could be in part, if you could translate that, is to our outreach has made it a lot easier to gain access. So I think it's a good case to be made, and hopefully we get a few of these people agreeing with us. Anything further for the director?
It can. I mean, we're talking about, yeah. But I was encouraged, actually, that within a day I got a response from, Administrator Kramer's office saying that they would be reviewing it. And
So it's hopeful.
I would say, yeah, this administration, I would say, yeah. Usually when I send stuff up to the federal side, I don't really get a response necessarily, so, yeah.
Eric, you said you had copied our area legislators. Do you get any response from them, from their office?
I did not. The only one that I got a hold of was Tom Tiffany's office, and they gave me a specific email to send it, and they said that they would review it too. That was just through a phone call. And the other offices, I shouldn't say, Jenny Dye, the policy director at the governor's office, she also received it. So, but we've had other conversations with Jenny as well, so she knew this was coming as well. Yeah.
We've had success on some other recent contacts with them trying to free up funding. So we've had good response. Once they take a look at it, that they're more likely to help us out.
Just one other question, Eric. So the public outreach efforts that our contractor has undertaken, how would you assess the success of those to date? I mean, I've been impressed by the list of activities that they've submitted to us. I have no idea whether these meetings and displays and whether they've been effective at all.
Yeah, we're over 98%, as far as
Acceptance?
acceptance with
That's pretty
right
good.
of entry agreements, you know. So I would say it's been extremely successful.
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, ready to move on?
Any action required on this? I guess just information only?
No.
Thank you.
All right, item 3, discussion and update on EPA motion to vacate regulatory determinations for PFAS hazard index. So this is under tab 3, and this is that moving target we've been talking about.
It is.
Where are we, Eric, do you want this, or Scott?
Yeah, I'll start it off. Scott can fill in too. He watches this pretty closely as well. So initially, when the EPA came out with their PFAS rules, they had the 2 PFOA, PFOS, which were the mostly, you know, the 2 researched. And then they also had another 6 that they developed a hazard index for. And this is really just confirmation that the EPA is rolling back that hazard index portion of the PFAS rule at this point. It should be noted that the DNR is still pushing forward with their own, because they have that authority to do that. So not exactly sure where we're at with that. I know DHS has their own recommendations, but that hasn't been run through the process yet. So although EPA is stepping it back to take further, I think some more research and do a little bit more investigation on what exactly the hazards are. The DNR, it sounds like they're going to continue to move forward. So, but I don't have a timeline on that.
No action required on that. Any questions? The next item is going to be similar in nature. Scott, did you have anything to add on that? Okay. So discussion update on the AWWA petition for review of the US EPA lead and copper rule improvements. Again, that's kind of goes hand in hand with our lead line replacement and whether or not we're going to be eventually on a 10-year plan or 15-year plan or what. Eric or Scott, do you want to elaborate? The report's in there. Any questions from?
I think these are really brought forward to keep you up to date, you know, just on the regulatory landscape. You know, it seems like it's evolving and it's and moving. It's kind of a moving target right now. So I think as the commission makes decisions, obviously for funding certain projects as well as the city council, it's kind of one of those things to that we need to kind of keep an eye on what the regulatory landscape is, and for one, making sure that we're continue to move forward so we don't fall out of regulation and have any issues that way, but also trying to predict is very difficult at this point where things are going to land. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say we're ahead of the game right now, and we're probably quite a bit ahead of the game on what some others are trying to deal with, but we don't want to be so far out ahead that we're spending money we don't yet have to. So it's a balancing act. All right, seeing nothing out. Anyone questions on that? All right, item 5 is discussion and update on water meter replacements to date and estimated replacements for the future. That one I'll let.
Yeah, no, this
Boris.
is just an update on where we're at so far this year. We have a bit over 2,000 meters replaced. There's a little over 6,000 that need to be replaced yet to complete the system. Some budgetary numbers in there for meter pricing and failure rates we are seeing. So the PSC, Wisconsin Public Service Commission, who regulates the water utility, has set a rate of 91% that we're supposed to be accurate with our meters. What is it, 39% of our meters here fail to meet that accuracy rate. So they're registering less than 91% of the water that goes through them. So our cash registers are old and wore out and need to be replaced. So if we want to keep our rates low and maximize our revenue, we need to replace these out. So.
Laura Watson.
Question, Scott?
Oh, hold on. Hang
Hold on a
on.
second.
We got Watson recognized.
Go ahead.
Hi, thanks. So, of the 6,000 that we still have yet to replace, do you know how many are the 5/3 inches?
The 5/3, there's going to be the majority of them.
So, like, a larger portion of the ones we still have to replace are about 40% fail rate?
Correct.
Okay. So, okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Mr. Forrest.
Yeah, my question, Scott, is so you've installed over 2,000 new meters, 6,000 to go, so you've done about 25%.
We have 17,000 meters in the system,
Okay.
so we roughly 11,000 of, excuse me, my math is not doing so
Okay,
good.
so-
Yeah, 11,000
yeah.
have been replaced.
That's maybe 20%. Have you seen any impact on,
It's
Billing?
very hard to judge that because we are seeing some revenue increases, but we've also had a rate case 3 years ago. And then we also see some fluctuations in water use, especially with the wet year we've been having. So water use is down. So it's hard to judge from year to year exactly how we're doing that. I'd like to do some more analysis, but I'd really like to get more meters changed out before we can see a big jump on that.
seems like it's been a dry year at my property.
Actually, water's been, up until about the last 3 weeks, we've had a lot of rain.
So we're hoping that water loss number on our annual report goes into single digits, and that would potentially be an indicator.
Yeah, it would truly do that.
But water loss is going to be a matter of leakage in the system, and I don't know how we're addressing that. We have been addressing
Well,
it.
leakage and under-reporting meters, so you're using more water than you're.
There's both, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And flushes and things, there's a lot of, oh, sorry, Alder Watson.
So I was trying to process this when I was asking you the first question. So most of the ones that we still have to replace are the 5/3 meters, right? Are they sort of on the top of the list? Are those the ones we replace first? And then are they the ones that we're short of? Because you said we're approximately short of 1,000 meters.
Yes, so the radios, we're also short on radios. So the 5/3 meters will be short on those. How do I explain this? So our larger meters are on a more frequent change-out schedule. So 6 and 8 inch meters get changed out every year, 3s and 4s every 2 year. And as the meter gets smaller, the longer duration, because they don't make that much of an impact if they're inaccurate. So our household meters is what we have the most of. So out of the 17,000 meters, roughly, I believe 12,000 of them would be household meters. So the majority of the remaining meters will be the household meters that we need to change out. And the 5/3 meter is, although it sounds odd, it's a 3/4 meter with 5/8 couplings on it. So it's something that was installed originally in our system. So those couplings, those fittings haven't been maintained.
And are those aren't usually on households, or are they using?
Those are
businesses?
household
Oh,
meters,
those are
yeah.
households. Okay. Because obviously, I mean, I don't know. It'd be nice to get rid of those that are failing, that are more likely to fail early, right? Because that would recoup more potential like billing earlier.
Correct.
Okay. So it's a combination of the 1,000 meters we're short of the other kind.
Correct. And we're also short-staffed, so it's hard to do a real robust change-out schedule. So our administrative assistants, earlier this year, when we had some time, we're contacting homeowners, contacting homeowners and setting up appointments, trying to preemptively change out a lot of the meters. We're starting at the oldest meters and moving to the newer meters. The meters that we have, we're only supposed to be in the system for 10 years. Some of them are approaching 20 and 30 years. So in the past, they just haven't been changed out for whatever reasons, usually economics. When the budget was short, they wouldn't buy meters, they wouldn't change them out.
Because is it possible too to like sort them by the oldest and then also sort them by the, that and then try to prioritize the 5/3 one?
Correct,
Right,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, and that's what we were doing. But then we started in with the lead replacement program, so we have a person changing out those meters. And then we found we were cross-referencing a bunch of them, so our older meters were in a lot of the homes with the lead service lines that were older. So we're letting those run out. What we were going to try to chase is the meters that were on the outlying areas of town where copper services are more prevalent. And that way we wouldn't have a cross-reference of efforts, right? So we're changing them out with the lead service line programs, and then we're going to do it outside of that program as well. But we're just short on staffing, so.
I bet the pivot table for that was amazing. Like lead service line, meter type, age, yeah. But that's cool. That's a cool way to attack it. Thank you.
And there's one more cross-check that happens. If somebody has a billing of zero usage, they're checking it in billing, and it's unusual that somebody, unless they're a snowbird, would use zero water. So if they have zero usage, that's an indicator. It could be a dead meter, so we're chasing some of those as well.
One other question, Scott.
Sir.
The large water users, the commercial, industrial firms on the system, what's the status of their meters?
We've been keeping up with those.
You've been keeping up with those?
Yes, so.
What does that mean?
Like, as I mentioned before, PSC regulates those, so larger meters get tested more frequently. So our 6 and 8 inch are every year, 3s and 4s are every 2 years, 1.5s and 2 are every 4 years. So those are on a lot more frequent rotation. So we usually, every year, we have a turnover on those meters.
So you're confident that we're on top of that? Because if our large users have failing meters, that's a lot of water that
Correct.
we may not be billing.
Yeah, no, we're
Okay.
on top of those. It's the homes that are hard to get into. Poor Michelle, she has to deal with people that haven't let people in their house since 1982 to try to get them to do a meter change.
Anything else on meters? We have enough to get us through this year.
We do, we do.
Okay, item 6, discussion and possible action approving the 2026 to 2030 capital budgets for drinking water and wastewater. And I don't know if Mary Ann was watching in the background to stop in. Do we need someone, or do you want to run it?
I mean, I can kick it off, and then this, depending on the questions, but you'll see that when we do our capital budget for the city, right, and the infrastructure budget with the streets and all of our street and non-street work, those costs do not include water and sewer. Those are shown in the water and sewer budget. So a lot of our street costs, take up our capital expenditures for water and wastewater divisions, and you'll see that. We also have, towards the top of each of those pages for water and wastewater, is our projects kind of specific for the utility, not necessarily tied to street projects. On the drinking water division, it's a little bit skewed because we're showing lead service line and those total costs. So at the bottom, I tried to break that out a little bit for you. So like that first line under there in the green is without lead service line, so you can kind of see what our typical borrowing, would be for the utility. And then with the lead service lines, and then the amount of total lead service line borrowing, because we are getting principal forgiveness. So
So Eric, what's our bottom line here? I mean, what is 2027, for example? What's that going to cost us? I see the total, but then I see the lead service line amount, and then I see without the lead service amount, $2.5 million.
right, so the total borrow amount, let's say 2027, would be 9.5 million with the lead service line. That's the estimated amount.
So our costs are going to be around 12 million. I'm not an accountant, obviously.
So for our normal projects, we're going to borrow 2.5 million.
Oh, all right.
Okay, and then if we move forward with lead service line in 27, we'd anticipate another 9 on top of that.
Yes, or 12 total. about?
Yes.
All right.
Actually, 7 on top of 2.5 for 9.5 total, right? All right.
Yep, right.
Is that what
Okay.
your point
Yep.
is? So that'll be a decision point for council this month or next month when we'll have that on?
Yeah, for the 26, it will be. We're waiting on the funding list from the DNR, which is supposed to be out in October, which looked very similar to this year as far as what we proposed, so, yeah.
One other question. Scott gave us some projected costs for radios and meters. Is that in here somewhere, or doesn't it need to be? Oh, yeah, there we are. Thank you. I see it.
Can I
Withdraw
ask
the
a quick
question.
question?
Yeah,
So, the solar, would that be in this one? If we wanted to try to incorporate or is that a different?
that is proposed to be under general obligation with the city, the solar
Okay.
project is, yes.
Okay. So it wouldn't be captured here, right?
It would not.
Okay.
No. Yeah, the question on the meters is we budgeted 200,000. I think we're obviously, from what Scott estimates, going to need more than that next year with the amount of lead service lines and other replacements we want to do with the meters and radios. And so, as usual, usually once or twice throughout the year, this budget comes back to the commission with revisions in the capital, depending on how projects shake out, especially when we start getting bids in February and March for street projects and seeing where those costs lie.
Well, our goal is to get caught up there and maybe be able to only have to spend 200,000 a year. If you recall, we put over $1 million in some of the ARPA money to buy some meters to get caught up. So we, hopefully by the end of next year, we'll be there, and we're in a maintenance mode instead of we're in a sustain mode instead of catch-up mode. Any other questions? Mary Ann, our finance director's here.
I just have a quick question.
Alder
Chair.
Watson.
So with, so the current year, 2026, right now, we're just sort of budgeting for 200,000, but we would probably need about 500,000 to have the new meters. And then the 100,000 is sort of like the maintenance, like the mayor was saying, right? So why did we I know we don't want to like overestimate, but we should accurately estimate that, right?
Yeah, it was, we were working with Mary Ann on those. Initially, we thought we had some additional funding from previous years, and we didn't. And so this was actually put in the capital budget. We just found that out about a week and a half ago. So we have not changed this at
Okay.
this point in time.
So what we should, like, this will be updated to like 480-ish?
It'll be updated, I think, once we start getting bids in for projects, because I think I'll come back to the commission with updates on how our project bids are coming in. Do we have savings within the budget that we can just move into the meters?
And is it going to be possible to finish the meter replacement by the end of 2026 with labor constraints and all that stuff?
Ultimately, it's going to be, I don't think it's possible to be completed. We'll be fairly close. I mean, 6,000 meters is a lot when you start talking 200 days in a year for working days that we usually run, or 220, 240. It'll be closer, and then depending on lead service line replacements, but it won't be possible to be complete.
So maybe like a little projection out for 2027 of like spreading those, that expense over those 2 years instead, because then we'll be done hopefully by the end of 2027.
Yeah, and it would be very helpful if we could bring a couple more staff on as well.
Right. Thanks.
All right, anyone else? You're going to cover wastewater next? Or are we good?
Yeah, so wastewater, I think, one of our larger projects, we've been trying to replace a lift station or at least upgrade a lift station per year. And the next lift station proposed in '26 is a pretty, expensive estimate right now. It's 1.6 million, 1.7. We have a couple other projects. We are trying to do manhole rehabilitation, hydrogen sulfide repairs within the sanitary sewer system, where H2S, hydrogen sulfide, typically erodes some of our concrete pipe and then the concrete manhole. So we've had issues with that, trying to get on top of that.
Alder Watson.
Not that I really am, like, well, it's 525,000, so I was looking at the slip line sewers. What is that? Just curious.
That's where they line the old sewers. I don't, typically they'll do it with steam or some other technology. They'll put a thin liner in and then blow it up, and then it'll put a hard lining on the inside of the sanitary sewer, so you don't have to excavate. It's a trenchless option.
Because it looks like nothing in 2026, but then it's a continued expense for, like, the coming years.
Yeah, so we had some carryover. We bid out a project for slip lining this year. We expected it to be a lot higher than when it came in. We got really good bids, so we're carrying over those funds to do some other work. And so in 2026, so we think that with those funds and some other work that we have to do, then we'll pick up our slip lining. But we did keep in our interceptor line, hydrogen sulfide repairs in for 26. We still think we could get that done.
And is that something that's like a constant maintenance thing? Like the slip line stuff? Or is it like sort of the meter replacement? Like there's a high initial investment for replacement and then eventually it lowers for maintenance? I don't know. Or is it something that you're consistently doing every year?
Well, you target the problem areas, and you like Eric had mentioned, you reline the sewers with a protective coating. So you can only do so many feet per year. Like this year, we'll be doing over by Sturgeon Eddy Road. The project will commence here shortly. They'll be slip lining, repairing the sewer over in that area. The sewer laterals are actually shifting, so that'll be fixed. They'll be secured and relined. So it's kind of an expensive fix, but it eliminates the fact that you would have it open cut and disrupt the neighborhood and the roads and that. So it's just an alternative method used.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, so that we also have to televise those lines to make sure that they're adequate candidates for that. Sometimes if the lines are oblong or they've settled or there's a lot of issues with them, we can't line them. You know, the liner will not hold. So, and then we also schedule that with our 5-year reconstruction plan. You know, if the street is within the 5-year plan, then we won't line those sewers because they'll be replaced. That's the anticipation. And so that's really with the lining project. And then we also look at the water line. If we have a lot of water main breaks and stuff, we know that we're going to replace the water main at some point. We may hold off on lining that sewer because the water and sewer are typically, you know, driving our street reconstruction projects.
Eric, are all these other sanitary sewer replacements going in with street reconstruction?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have one project up off of Hamilton and next year where the water main had a leak on it. It goes back behind houses. It's a tough spot to get. So some of those carryover funds will be using that in there to replace the sewer as well because they're both laid basically in the same trench. So.
A lot of work, Mr. Force. A lot of infrastructure out there that's aging.
Yeah, it's a
Stay
big
on top.
expense, but you can't have a city without
Right.
it.
You will see this again probably within the next 3 to 4 months. So.
Finance Director, anything to add? All right. cut her loose. All right. Item 7, discussion and possible action approving grant submission to the US EPA for the solar array project at 1010 Bugby Avenue.
I brought this to finance as well. Typically, the city council asked us if we were going to apply for grants that would have an impact on city's budget, that we would bring them forward. Being as that was under general obligation debt, under the levy, I brought it to finance, but I also was going to bring it here because obviously if a solar array is constructed, it will be connected to the water utility treatment facility. So this grant, Mary Ann and I have been working on it, and we also used some leftover consultant fees that we had with Clark Dietz when we were doing the solar planning design investigation. So it was a couple $1,000s. They helped us do the write-up and stuff on this. So this is up to 1.18 million. The estimated cost of the project is 2.5 million. And then the challenge with that project right now is that the tax credits are essentially going to be going away. So really for us to meet the timelines, we would have to begin construction before July 1 of 26. So,
Mayor, I move to approve.
Okay, motion to approve grant submission. Is there a second?
I'd second.
Second from Watson. Further
Question on the deadline, Eric.
Yeah.
When I read the document, it says October 6th, which was yesterday.
yeah.
Has that been extended, or?
No, we did submit it last night. So, yeah, late last night. So, yeah.
Alder Watson.
So it looks like a few amount of, like 6 awards, right?
Yes.
So do you know how competitive it'll be? Like, do you know?
I have a feeling it'll be quite competitive. It's nationwide.
Okay,
So,
nationwide and
like-
6 people are selected, right?
Yeah. So they're only 6 awards. So,
And so we won't know until like May,
correct.
and then we need to, for some of the credits, you said July of 2026 or
We have to
June
begin
1?
construction before July.
Okay.
So,
So it's really,
yeah, a lot of this stuff is going to have to be done simultaneously, right, as we move forward into 2026. So we have the concepts put together. We probably have about a 25-30% design put together, layout. There will have to be additional work put into that in order for us to bid it, get the contract awarded, get it signed, and get it established to get a construction date. And that will likely happen before we find out what happens on this grant. So that'll be a decision by the city council, because we would need the city council to fund the project in full, or at least, allow that to happen with the full 2.5 million. And then any additional funding that we have from outside sources, whether it's tax credits or this grant, would just be less borrowing next year. As a city, we'll typically not borrow until June or July.
and so is there a completion time frame? Like we don't have to have it done in a certain amount of time, or?
Right, we have to have, if we start before July, it has to be done before 2030.
Oh, okay.
If we start after July 1, it has to be done by the end of 27, which I don't know that we can do that with the type of materials, the American made, all of that stuff that we have to comply with. So,
Thank you.
Has this been,
Sadly.
this hasn't been approved yet
nope,
at the council level, right? You haven't committed to this
Mm-mm.
project? Okay.
no.
And it's general fund, right? It's your general fund.
Correct.
So you're bringing it through us because the water facility will get the energy from it, right? Is that why we're bringing it
Right.
through us?
Yeah, and it initially started here, I mean,
Right.
all of the planning came here, all of the discussions came here, the task force came here, this was where everything, I wanted to keep the commission informed.
But the commission's really, the council will have the final on this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, they will.
Because we really haven't seen the financial end of this. So I don't know, I mean, we're just saying A-okay, or?
Well, this would be a submission for the grant, so, you
Yeah.
know,
So it's just a
in
grant
some
that you
respects.
want.
it
Yeah,
is-
this is just,
This grant has a huge scope. When you're reading it,
yes,
I'm surprised it applies to this.
yes,
Solar,
yep.
bit of a reach.
I don't think so. I mean, I think a lot of sustainability and other things, you know. I think we actually have a pretty good case, but, you know, I mean, when you're talking about nationwide, you just never know
Right.
what you're going to be competing against. So, yeah, you know, it's, I guess, as far as grants go, it wasn't too intrusive, I guess, on staff to get it done. But, you know, they're never easy and,
Right.
yeah.
And remind us again what potential reward date would be.
They said by May of 2026.
All right. Motion and a second. Any further comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the grant submission to US EPA for solar array projects signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries, and that'll go forward to council as our recommendation. I got to back up just a minute. We didn't approve the capital budget for the drinking water, wastewater, so I would entertain a motion to approve that capital budget plan that was presented under item 6.
I'd move.
Motion
So moved.
from Watson, second from Hadley.
Okay.
That's good.
Anything further on that? All those in favor of approving that capital budget signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we can pass that along as well to council. Item 8, discussion and possible action approving part-time wastewater lab technician on job training program with outside funding for up to 500 hours. So let's start first by entertaining a motion to approve that part-time wastewater lab person.
I'll move.
Is that from Mr. Force, second from Gelhar?
Second. Yep.
Comments, questions from staff on that? For staff. This is a new opportunity through workforce development. It's really a training opportunity for students, but also gives us the ability to offset some of the costs on our end, and yet get some assistance in the lab. And we'd really like to try this. I think it's a good program, and so I think we need help in the lab. We always can. This would be a part-time position, so I think these 500 hours would carry us through into summer of next year. So I think it's a good for us.
How old is this person?
Where would these students come
High school
from?
or
I'm sorry.
College.
college?
College, yeah. This
Okay.
one's in a program at UW.
Okay.
So Point, I think, taking classes virtually and here in town. So, yeah.
Okay.
So this would be a temporary, it would not be adding to the body
The
count.
full-time employees, no. This would be like almost like a seasonal help type, yeah.
Mr. Gelhart.
Like a good idea?
Yeah, I would just like to say, I think it's important to point out that it's a possibility that we could also add to the pipeline of, we've got labor shortages all over the place. And the reality is we've got 3% unemployment. The labor force participation continues to trend down. So I've seen it in workforce development in the private sector, initiatives that are starting to target high school, college age, local talent. So I guess I would just like to commend the water department, wastewater, for taking this on, because I think that this could set an example for other departments to take advantage of the resources that are offered through WIOA and other federal programs. So kudos.
Good exposures. That, other than our water and commissioners, not a lot of people get to tour the plants. You've been there.
We've been there. Lived it.
All right, with a motion and a second, all those in favor of approving the part-time wastewater lab tech on outside funding up to 500 hours signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries. Item 9, discussion and possible action approving a budget modification to the 2025 wastewater budget. I would entertain a motion on that under tab 9.
So moved.
Motion from Watson,
Second.
second from Hadley.
Apparently, if I had looked forward in the packet a bit better, I would have.
So yeah, this is
Question,
a topic
yeah.
we got on a little bit earlier, but if there's anything to add, Ben, did you want to grab that?
Eric pretty much summed it up already as far as what the intended use is going to be for the carryover. As Eric stated already, that's for the Hamilton project. We'll be replacing, I believe it's 3 manholes and their structures, and then the gravity sewer along with it. The water department's going to be doing work in that area at the same time. It'll be open cut, so it only makes sense to do that work at the same time.
How do you make your projections? How did this come in so much lower than where you were at?
From past costs that we've had.
Okay.
You know, so sometimes it's hard, right? There are certain areas of the city that it's very difficult to work. You know, there are other areas of the city where, you know, and then sometimes it's just more competition. Yeah. So, yeah, I would say I think this came in a couple $100,000 less than what we anticipated, didn't it, Ben?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that's going to be a trend or not, Deb, but I'd sure like to see that as a
Lovely.
trend. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not going to happen, but that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, with a motion and a second on the approval of the budget mod for the carryover as indicated under tab 9, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries up. Last is item 10, discussion and possible action approving the purchase of a UTV and golf carts with funds procured from the sale of 3 general fixed assets sold at Integrity Auction, and that's under tab 10. Would entertain a motion on that one.
Everybody wants to agree to this. I'll move to approve the golf carts and the ATV.
A second.
Okay, this time a motion from Hadley, second from Gelhar.
So those little electric golf carts are going to zip around in the winter
Yes.
around your back lot, and that's going to work?
Yes. Definitely. That's the plan,
That's the plan.
anyway. Well, there's areas that the staff can park in and keep the batteries warm during the time of being parked, if you will. So, and they'll be located inside after hours and that, so. And we'll be able to plug them in if needed, if they're parked outside.
And how are you doing this now? Just hiking out there?
The guys are having
Trucks?
to transport pumps and heavy hoses manually in that. I mean, help eliminate any injuries in that, and be able to safer travel over the tunnels and that, and areas of the plant that are inaccessible by vehicles and that, so. Right now, we have 16 employees, and there's only a few vehicles that are available, so they won't be fighting for the vehicles anymore. They can use them to go back and forth in their travels. As you know, the plant is very stretched out from one end to the other, so it'll help, especially during emergency situations too, in those areas, to get to them.
And this is an everyday thing.
Everyday
You know,
thing.
you have to jump on something and go somewhere.
Every day, yes.
Okay. This one?
Or are you envisioning like
I'm just trying to
three-wheel
figure out what you're doing with the golf
trikes with a
carts.
basket where they're,
No, I think it'll be great. Helpful.
all right, any other input? Seeing none. Are you reaching for the button? No. Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the purchase of the UTV and golf carts with the leftover funds signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes. Next meeting is scheduled for November 4th. Same location, same time, 11 o'clock. Would entertain a motion to adjourn. Watson.
Second.
Gelhar, those in favor?
Aye.
See you later.
I gotta do this one. Right on it.